War, rapport, family, what is going on? It's your boy B Will, Mike G in here with me. And we about to preview the Auburn versus Texas Southern basketball game. Is kicking off. You always do that. Tipping off at the top of the hour at Neville Arena before Auburn hits the road next week. But Mike G, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Auburn is 3-0. There's still a lot of exciting basketball to come before they release the weekly rankings on Monday. So it'll be interesting to see, with Kentucky going down and then Kentucky and Gonzaga, I think, play on Sunday. These little games that Auburn has are so important. They're important. It's important for them to keep momentum going. And continue to gel as a team, because this is a different starting squad than last year, right? Like, I saw a graphic where Cardwell is essentially leading the nation in like percentage of blocks,
right?
And some other guys are stepping up. So this will be fun to watch, to see those guys continue to do that, continue to step up, and for the 2022-2023 version of the Auburn Tigers to continue to develop into the squad that they're going to be.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think it's important, like you said, because this is a new starting squad. And I don't think we have a Jabari Smith type upper echelon talent on this team. If we do, at least not right now. So it's going to be a equal contributing, a mashup of people who have to do the right things at the right times in order for this to work. And what's crazy is I don't feel like we're a worse team than last year necessarily. I just feel like we're a different team. And you see how Cardwell improved. I mean, if you had asked any of us, was Cardwell going to improve coming into the season, we'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe. But I mean, since the Israel games, he has looked significantly better in a number of ways. And between him, the little bit we saw of Chance Westry, it looks like we got another ball on our hands, man. And Flanagan looking like old Flanagan. It looks like we got some things coming together that may make us just as formidable a team. That doesn't mean other teams can't get better, because we had our holes last year, and our biggest weakness last year is still our biggest weakness this year so far, shooting the basketball. But
right,
I think we got time to get, at least, if you hate to put it all on Westry, like he's the one guy who can shoot because none of these other bums can shoot, because that's not what we're saying. Right. But yeah, he's the one guy who hasn't had a significant amount of shooting slumps. Like, we've seen our other players have some highs and some lows and then some extended lows, but it's got to be Westry to be the difference as far as between this year and last year, and outside shooter who can get his own shot and handle the ball well. Like, he made a couple passes in that game, put the ball on the floor. Westry seems to be a very, very well-rounded player, and I didn't know what to expect from him, but I'm hella impressed with the little bit I saw so far.
Yeah, I agree, man. Listen, I'm going to continue to monitor the Alan Flanagan comeback tour. He's going to be super important to their development, I think, as a team, as somebody who is one of the most veteran guys on the team, but had a disappointing season last season because of the injury. So he's got a little extra bounce in his step. It should be fun to watch. And then we've got a top 10 coach in all of college basketball, Bruce Pearl.
We do.
So being able to watch his coaching and maturation process as well, I think personally is going to be fun to watch here this season, as he tries to figure out, like, hey, what does this version of the Tigers look like? And, what are the most effective lineups? And they played a lot of guys early so far this season. They played a lot of guys early this season. So with Tennessee going down to Colorado, like, you just can't take these early games for granted.
Right.
I don't think you can take any of these early games for granted. So, Auburn is in that kind of mid zone B where they're starting to give them respect, but it's not quite there, because, I'm with Ike. Like, I don't think Kentucky's done anything to earn being a top 5 squad, just like off the rip like that.
Right.
And so Bruce Pearl is slowly working this program into that zone where every year there should be an expectation this is going to be a top 7 or higher, right? Like, team in all of college basketball, because, they just landed Aiden Holloway, and, they just keep stacking and refreshing talent. So I'm also going to be watching Wendell Green.
Mm-hmm.
This is a player that like I've rooted for a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he should be a leader on this squad, but Auburn needs shooting.
Right.
They need shooting, and he's going to take 10 to 15 shots a game, and I feel like he needs to be hit at like a 40% clip for this Auburn team to be good going down the stretch. So against these lesser opponents, I'm going to be watching that as well to see, if his game develops to where he develops another dynamic that teams have to game plan for.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I was happy to see him kind of get his shot and really make his hay with some assists as well last game. They pretty much got whatever they wanted against Winthrop, which, I mean, not too surprising because Winthrop is Winthrop. And I don't even mean that with disrespect because there are plenty of smaller conference teams that are good, but Winthrop isn't one of those teams.
Right.
So he got what he wanted, and I had selfishly bet the under for that game. The under, I think it was like 150.5. So I needed them to stop it at 150 total points. They got to like 154, mostly off the strength of a late three. And I was like, dang, I knew that we would cover the spread. That was a guarantee. But I didn't know how it would go. If you hold the score too low, then one garbage bucket could do it. But I didn't know we were going to score that many points. Like, dang, we were going to approach 90?
Right.
This of all nights? It's cool, though. It's cool. But yeah, Wendell doing what he wanted and getting what he wanted was a welcome sight. I want to see it when the guards are big. When the other guards are big, I want to see it because it seems like people are able to, I don't want to say bully him. It's just with length, he can't do the exact same things against length that he can against a guard that's just 6'1", 6'2". If a guard is 6'3" or taller, he's going to have trouble getting into the paint and finishing over them. And that's going to stifle what he can do as far as passing it off because he's not as much of a threat. You don't have to collapse your defense to account for Wendell if you've got somebody 3-4 inches taller than him on him. So I want to see him against size. I haven't looked up Texas Southern. I don't know what their size is. I know they've been getting pretty much run off the court in all of their pretty much buy games for them where they make their money going to everywhere and getting their ass whooped. So I don't know how good they actually are or aren't. I guess we'll see tonight as it relates to Auburn. But
well, listen, there are a lot of bums in college basketball.
That's true.
Bums disguised as blue bloods, right? And so, unfortunately, last year, Auburn fell in that territory come tournament time.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, wasn't it?
We were bums in the SEC tournament and bums in the NCAA tournament. But this, even without Jabari Smith, I think this version of the Auburn Tigers basketball team has a chance to do something really special, be a little bit more balanced. They may be forced to be a little bit more balanced without a player like that you turn to. Bruce Pearl really did a good job of easing Jabari Smith in last year, not putting too much on him too quickly. And, he did a good job of what he was handed. But at the end of the day, even with him, we didn't have enough shooting.
Right.
So I was excited to see Alan Flanagan knocking down shots from the outside. We need Wendell Green to step up, and we need Zeb Jasper as well too to step in and knock down some mid to long range jumpers to help keep teams honest when it comes to us. And then with Cardwell and Broome, man, like this could be a really, really, really good team. So again, some teams got exposed so far this weekend. Hopefully, the Auburn Tigers are not making the list. But I'm excited to see what the prize picks looks like. What does the prize picks look like today?
All right. So the prize picks for tonight. Let me pull this up. So I'm going to go ahead and search Auburn, see what we got. See us up there already. We got Wendell Green over or under 15 on the points. We got Johni Broome. See, he wasn't even on the prize picks last time, but they got wise to him after that last game. Okay. So he's over under 11.5 on the points, over under 8 on the rebounds. Combo points, rebounds, and assists, 20.5 over under for Broome. So they just got Wendell and Broome, but we got some interesting numbers here. Which of these do you like?
I like Johni Broome over on the rebounds.
On the rebounds? All right.
Yeah, I like the over on the rebounds for Johni Broome.
All right. Let's put that on there.
This is difficult. Like I feel like these lines for Wendell Green, these props are like right. They set these so nice because I can see this going either way. And like on points, he's gonna miss it by like 2 points or make it by 1 point.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I would stay away from points on this one. And I would go assists, and I would say over 5 assists.
Okay. All right. Let's go
For
over on
Wendell
those.
Green on this one, and we'll see how
Mhm.
that goes. So rebounds and assists for those guys. He's got to make it more of a concerted effort to dish the ball and get his teammates involved. But also with Lob City, baby, they're good for like 3 of them a game.
They could definitely. I mean, now the Cardwell's actually catching the ball when it's thrown to him.
Yeah.
I mean, now he's getting those, so that definitely changes the assist numbers. And with Wendell starting and getting more minutes, so
For sure.
I'm with you on the assist. Now I know we can only do 2 from our team, so I want to go to the NBA because there's a couple of people been standing out to me. One of the John Moran, I think they play OKC, right?
Mhm.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been going slap off this season. They've been putting up like averaging 125 on people the last week. So my gut says no matter what this was, I was gonna pick the over, but now I'm looking like 31.5 is a lot.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's
Now,
anything else friendly.
so like I actually like betting Devin Booker.
Okay, where's Book at?
Yeah. The Suns are taking on the Utah Jazz. This should be a competitive game.
Yeah, it should be.
Both teams are kind of in the same range right now, but old Book.
Let me go and look him up because I ain't seen
Yeah, like search him by name, but I like Devin Booker. In a competitive matchup. And again, that line right there for points, I'm iffy either way because it's right there about what he does.
Right.
And it could go either way. But 5 rebounds is actually quite a bit for him. So I would actually go under on assists.
Okay.
For Devin Booker.
All right.
And I don't pick the under very often, but this might be one of those. This should be one of those games by the metrics where he scores a bunch of points and maybe doesn't dish the ball a whole lot.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too. That's what. Well, you know what? Let me check the rosters because if what's his name, Chris Paul's out for whatever reason, then those assists are definitely going to go up. But I don't think he's out. I know Chris Paul was out at least once last.
He is out. He is out.
He's out.
He's out. So yeah, maybe we go over on the assists because that's a great point. Yeah, maybe we go over on the assists with Paul out.
That still is a lot of points. Excuse me, a lot of assists for Book, but
he can do it.
He can do it with Chris Paul out. He could definitely do it.
All right.
So I'm gonna hit the flex, and we keep it at 20.
Yeah, we just got to hit 2 out of 3 of these with the flex.
Yeah. Not a bad deal. So we're going to drop that. That is prizepicks.com. We got our ticket already ready. If you want to get your money matched, that's matching up to $100 on your first deposit when you sign up with Prize Picks. You use code RAPPORT, RAPPORT. When you sign up for Prize Picks, match that first 100.
This is one of the only things you can do in Alabama.
Right.
in terms of like online sports betting. So Prize Picks has been a great sponsor for us. We really want to thank them for sponsoring our channel. But yeah, like B said, visit prizepicks.com, get that 100% match, and get you some Broome Green Booker action going on. We're going to be following along with you guys, and hopefully we're all cashing here in about 2 hours.
That'd be fantastic. All right. So speaking of, we saw Broome had some lines on here on Prize Picks for the first time. Broome, it has to be the most important pickup we got in the offseason.
Yeah.
To me, at least. I mean, he's rebounding. He's playing well around the basket. He has an offensive game around the basket, and I can't really remember the last time we had a guy over 6'7" who was just fluid around the basket. What have you thought of Broome so far in these first 3 games?
He was – so last year, remember, we were like, Jabari Smith is Auburn's best player. But Auburn's most important player was Walker Kessler.
Right.
I think that Walker, like Johni Broome, has stepped into that most important player role very nicely. So I like him as our most important player. I think that he's shown that skill so far this season. And it's going to be interesting to watch what he does tonight because Bruce Pearl is showing an affinity for not only – being able to pluck them out of high school, but identify top talent in the portal and get guys in who can be immediate impact guys. So worth all the hype. Johni Broome was worth all the hype.
Yeah.
And his game will continue to develop at this level. He was very good at Morehead. Was it Morehead State?
Yeah.
That he was at. And it has carried over to the SEC. So they have a chance to shock a lot of people. Johni Broome is going to be a huge part of that because in the absence of like outside shooting, having a guy who can bang down low, maybe get offensive boards and putbacks for you is going to be super important. That's Johni Broome. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think we're much better equipped now. Like Walker Kessler wasn't a great rebounder for him to be as tall as he was. He was a great shot blocker, phenomenal shot blocker, but he wasn't an elite rebounder. Johni Broome looks like a much more natural rebounder, but he's also got a feel for the game around the rim. And that's something that neither Cardwell has had to this point, and that Walker Kessler didn't necessarily have either. He was great for catching those lobs, but if he ends up with the ball in his hands about 4 feet away from the basket, the options were limited for him. And Johni Broome checks that box because we know how tight games and how competitive games are going to get in the conference play. Man, defense is going to be just ravenous. You're going to end up scoring like 58 points in the game. And it's really going to come down to a couple of plays where your big guy can get his hands on the ball on a loose rebound, but he could also, instead of having to kick it out and forcing us to take more jump shots, which we weren't good at, and so far this season we aren't great at, you can finish for us down low, some easier points, some friendlier buckets. And that is a much better proposition than either not getting those rebounds or getting it and having to kick it out to people who are struggling from outside. So Broome is going to be just otherworldly important. And so far, even hobbled, even with a hurt ankle, he's been impressive. And I just actually, he hit us up in the Slack saying that Johni Broome is looking better moving around out there in pregame. So I can't wait to see what he ends up being, man. He's just Bruce, like you said, I don't know how you go and just find a Johni Broome. Like, hey, man, we're going to lose some shot blocking. Let's get some shot blocking plus some inside offense. Like, wow, Bruce is doing it, man. Bruce is doing it.
Listen, you don't really, I think my most surprising player so far of the season has been Dylan Cardwell.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, like early last season when he would get in, I was like, I'm not so sure this guy's not a bum. And he suddenly looks like this seasoned veteran, a floor leader. He's getting blocks. He's bringing energy. He's playing under control. He's banging down low. And so when Broome comes out of the game, you don't get a break.
Right.
You don't get a break. Now, have we run many sets with both of those guys out there at the same time?
I have to go back and check. I'm having trouble remembering off the top of my head. I don't know.
Yeah, I just feel like it's been really, really good, the Johni Broome Cardwell combo. And to your point, as Broome starts to come back a little bit more because he's dealing with that little nicked up, it's gonna be fun to watch. Every version of the Auburn Tigers under Bruce Pearl has looked different. Right. He really does a good job adapting his ball that he calls, his ball games that he calls, to the talent that we have. Right. The 2019 Tigers were exciting, man. Mm-hmm. They could shoot you out the gym, and they would pass up wide open layups to shoot threes.
Yeah.
We have not really seen that kind of shooting since.
Yeah.
We haven't. And so they've had to adapt. And, listen, in a perfect world, yes, Bryce Brown's galore, right? Guys like, him that can just take over a game, and, you've got, JT Thors, and you've got all these guys who can just really, really just play ball at a high level. But this version of the Tigers, again, Alan Flanagan, Johni Broome, Cardwell stepping his game up, and then some of the young guys and Donaldson and Westry stepping in there also. And as their game starts to develop, who knows what this looks like? They could be really dangerous. So Texas Southern, I think they're, if I'm looking at this correctly, they're 1-4 on the season. Mm-hmm. They're not a very good basketball team. So I'm going to be watching tonight for the focus as well, to see how focused these guys stay during, this time. And, part of the mark of a good team is that you beat bad teams badly.
Right.
right? And at times it just felt like, even so far this season, we've had some of the teams, they hang around until halftime. That's not that uncommon in college basketball.
Right.
But after halftime, good teams come out and dominate, and they leave no doubt. And you got to be able to step on the neck when you get a chance. So that's what I'm going to be looking for tonight. Can they put this game away early?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And score that 80 to 90 points that we saw.
Yeah.
Right. Even with the backups getting as much time as they did.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's what I'm checking for, too. I'm checking for, as a betting man, I want to know if I can trust this Auburn team before I start laying down money on them, which is why I didn't bet the cover last game. I bet the points total. But I want to see us dominate. There are a few teams on my radar in college basketball who look like elite teams as I check the score, box score every night, and kind of check the floor of the games. Houston is housing people by 50 points. I think Houston was a team that beat this team by 40 points last night or the night before last. I'm not sure. Houston is doing it like 20 points, outscoring you by 20 in the first half and 20 in the second half. We might not be that type of domination. They have more size, more outside shooting, but they are a dominant defensive team. We are a dominant defensive team. We're introducing a lot of new pieces, so that's going to take some time to get them up to speed playing the defense, especially when they're young, when you got a Donaldson, or you got a Traore, and when you've got a Westry. But I'm telling you, like by mid-January, when we've had some SEC conference games and everything is starting to make sense to these guys, I expect us to be dominating on that level. And how much we end up dominating consistently will come down to whether or not we found enough outside shooting to make teams really worried about what we can do when we get on the floor.
For sure. You mentioned that they played Houston last game. That score was 83 to 48. This schedule for Texas Southern, these first 6 games, is low-key brutal. I was like, wait, they opened with San Fran, who was a tournament team last year, if I remember correctly. They played in the same conference with Gonzaga. They had number 25 Texas Tech. They actually beat Arizona State by 1 point. Oral Roberts beat them 82 to 64. But like, these losses have been like 25 to 35 point blowouts.
Yeah.
Right.
They're playing good teams.
Yeah.
Like,
so yes. So this should be another one. And they still have Kansas 3 games from now. So RIP Texas Southern Tigers.
They cashing them checks, though. That's the thing. They're gonna be straight. They probably paid for the facility upgrades in 2 years with this early schedule right here.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But again, you're playing essentially 4 top 25 teams in a 6-game stretch, which is crazy, right? And this is a game, again, I just want to see Auburn in that 80 to 90 point range, because that's what the teams that beat them have done. Right. So, this is one of those games where if you don't score, you're stopping yourself if you're Auburn.
Right.
You're stopping yourself and you're turning the ball over. And I think if they could limit the turnovers and play solid basketball, this should be over with by the 13-minute mark in the second quarter.
Second half. Okay.
Second half. In the second half. I'm sorry.
I'm with you on that. So we got 5 minutes left before we jump off for the tip off. Tell me, who do you most want to see step up? I see Wesley Hilson saying that Broome is doubtful to play tonight. So, hey, well, that kind of goes to what we were saying before the last game. I would rest Broome for the tournament next week.
For sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're going to play a lot of important games. We're going to match up against people. I think he's shown what he's needed to show to know that he can get into the flow of a game and contribute significantly. So I'm cool with resting Broome for tonight.
Okay.
So with that being said, does that change how you feel like the score should look by the 13-minute mark?
No, it shouldn't. Cardwell should be able to step in admirably in this one, and it should be again. This is one of those teams where, like, on talent alone, they should dominate because that's what the teams that have beat them have done. Right. Yeah. So play solid basketball. Things have to start. This is game 4, I think, for the Auburn Tigers. Right. So, like, things need to start to come together a little bit here for Auburn in terms of, team identity. And that's what I'm going to be looking for. And you've got to be able to play. Listen, man, teams lose their best players all the time.
Yep.
It can't be an excuse for why you don't win or why you don't beat teams that you should beat.
Right.
The way you should beat them. So
Right.
no excuses. Excuses if Broome isn't out there. They shouldn't need him tonight. So I'm with you. Like, listen, man, if he's iffy, rest him.
Right.
If he's iffy, rest him. Right.
Yeah.
And let him get right before SEC play.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I wanted to see. So I'm glad they're doing it. And it's not that I think Texas Southern are absolute slouches. I see Justin the Juke in here talking about I'm guessing you either a HBCU fan or a Texas Southern fan, but either way, we're welcome. Welcome to have you, man. Glad you're talking to us about the game. But we don't ever disrespect competition. We're not looking down on Texas Southern because they are an HBCU team at all. Because honestly, man, Auburn has played some really, really close games against teams that would have been considered subpar. We are not offensively good enough to overlook anybody.
Facts.
But defensively, we are ferocious.
Yeah.
And we should be able to speed up and turn over any team that doesn't have an elite point guard. If you can't handle the ball elitely, then we are going to get you out of there fairly quickly. And I don't know enough about Texas Southern to know if that's them. I know what other teams have done to Texas Southern, and that's why I'm eager to see, like you said, are we going to see the exact same number of points that those other teams have put up on Texas Southern? I want us to dominate, but that this will be kind of an eye test for me to see, all right, how ready are we at this point of the season?
Right. Yeah.
People that dominate them. Right. Yeah. Offensively. We should be able to get off.
Yeah. So I'm with you. Listen, no disrespect to Texas Southern at all. No disrespect to them, but this is a game Auburn should win.
Yeah.
And it's a game that they should win handily because that is what the record shows so far this year for Texas Southern on Texas Southern side. But we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to watching this one. Bruce should have his guys ready.
For sure. As we expect. So with that, everybody, we are going to jump off right here. I think the game is on ESPN Plus, or SEC alternate. I'm not exactly sure. It's either or it might be on both because one of the other games was like that. So we're going to jump off so y'all can go watch the game, so we can go watch the game. This is the War Report. We're previewing Texas Southern versus Auburn at home, Neville Arena. To everybody out there, War Report family, War Eagle.
War Eagle.